Ooh, what's up, nerds and geeks? My name is OMG WTF LOL TEW BRB. Welcome back to more WWE versus TEW, the series where we take WWE's weekly television series and weekly events and book them in TEW to see how well WWE does against this booking machine that is known as Total Extreme Wrestling. We are booking 205 live. This show is going to be rather interesting, not just because I am trying to be a little quiet because it is, 3 o'clock in the morning. And why am I recording at 3 o'clock in the morning? Well, because I'm kind of bored. I'm not going to lie. And I didn't have anything else to do, so I have to wait for my laundry to be done. So let's get this episode of 205 Live out of the way. The hell was that noise? But what else is going to be interesting about this episode? Sorry, that noise really kind of threw me off guard. I was like, what was that fucking noise? I was thinking about ending their recording. Rambling on here. The other part that's interesting about this show is this is going to be the first show that we have in Total Extreme Wrestling so far that doesn't meet the criteria of WWE's 50 to pretty much 50-50 booking of matches and angles. Now, with Monday Night Raw, 205 Live, and SmackDown in the past, we haven't really had that problem. At least it hasn't really popped up to me, even though there have been times where the final graded segment mentions that, hey, the fans weren't too happy that they had to sit through more matches than shows or something, or angles. Stuff like that. But this is the first time that I've actually, looked up and it says, that we're expecting 50% of matches, but we're at 75%. And that's because this episode of 205 Live was the Gauntlet #1 contendership for the Cruiserweight Championship and the right to face Cedric Alexander at the Greatest Royal Rumble event that'll take place on Friday. Or, I guess, today when I'm recording. So, yeah. It's pretty much just back-to-back-to-back matches. No room for any angles here or there. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. But nonetheless, let's just jump right into this and run the show. So we get a E... Oh my god. For some reason, I forgot that this is 205 Live and that every angle is just like E. It's like EA Sports. It's in the game. It's just, holy crap. Either way, E+ rated segment here as we just get a quick opening segment of the DMGM Drake Maverick alongside, not really alongside, but he's hyping up the Gauntlet match, revealing the competitors for the Gauntlet match as all 5 of them, right? Yeah, 5 of them cut a little bit of a promo on why they're going to win tonight. Of course, those 5 members are Drew Gulak, Tony Nese, Kalisto, TJP, and Mustafa Ali. So Buddy Murphy didn't make weight, I guess. That was the main storyline, even though it kind of confused me as why wouldn't he be able to test this week. But it's interesting why some of these guys are chosen. Now I can see why, Mustafa Ali was chosen. I can see why Drew Gulak was chosen. I can even kind of see why TJP and Kalisto were chosen. Tony Nese is the one that kind of sticks out to me the most. I mean, that could have been a spot that was given to, a Tozawa, who is a former, Cruiserweight champion. And you could have played off the feud between him and Kalisto. But I guess since you have Tony Nese and Drew Gulak's feud going on, you could play off that as well. I don't know. To me, it's like, what has Tony Nese done to earn this opportunity? You know what I mean? Compared to other people like an Akira Tozawa, like a Hideo Itami, like a Lince Dorado or a Gran Metalik. Stuff like that, but that's just a little bit of a minor nitpick there. We jump into a solid E-rated segment here as Vic Joseph, Percy Watson, and finally Nigel McGuinness joins the commentary team. One thing I forgot to mention in the Monday Night Raw episode, so I'm going to mention it here, is Monday Night Raw, Jonathan Coachman wasn't on commentary. It was Corey Graves, Michael Cole, and Booker T, subbing in for Jonathan Coachman. So I didn't put over the fact that I did indeed go ahead and make that change myself of Booker T replacing Jonathan Coachman for the night. So if any of you are curious if I did do that, which I doubt any of you really were, but Booker T was indeed on commentary on Monday night. I just forgot to actually bring it up. But here we have Nigel McGuinness finally joining the commentary table after a 2-week hiatus. So they pretty much just recap last week and why we're having this gauntlet match. Buddy Murphy not making his 205 weight limit. He was 207, a whole 2 pounds over. So even though he was going to get a Cruiserweight Championship match because of he was over the weight limit, we have this gauntlet match now. And while everybody is so excited about it, I'll tell you one person who isn't excited about that. Total Extreme Wrestling, because oh boy, this game is not happy. And I think my cat just found a spider or something. I love how I tell you guys some of the random things going on in my room as I look around. That's also what happens when you're kind of tired when you record. This is a very interesting episode, I'm sorry. E+ rated segment. This is during the match when it's happening right now, the opening match. And the first match of the gauntlet match was TJP versus Mustafa Ali. It's interesting how he went from TJ Perkins to now just regular TJP. Like, that's straight up his name. I'm not complaining, it's just interesting to me how nobody talks about that. It just happened. Then again, nobody talks about TJP. Even though I wasn't a fan of him before, I am a fan of his heel work. I think he's a good heel. So there you have that. But we have a little bit of an interview during the match. Dasha Fuentes interviews Cedric Alexander on who he wants to win, or not really on who he wants to win. My bad, but more on his reaction on Buddy Murphy not making the weight limit. Alexander, he's not really too he doesn't really care. It seems like he just puts over that he will get his hands on Buddy sooner or later. But he, of course, puts over the match going on right now between TJP and Mustafa Ali. Kind of a pointless little thing, but it puts over that, yeah, Cedric Alexander is indeed watching this, and he is indeed waiting for Buddy Murphy as well. They're making sure to keep, pressing that, yeah, Buddy Murphy didn't make it this time, but he'll be back, pretty much. Alright, so we can finally jump into the matchup here, which gets an E+ rating and an abysmal matchup. Oh my god, an abysmal match. Although it's not as bad as the an embarrassing matchup that we have between Mandy Leon and not Mandy Leon, that's a chick from ROH, Mandy Rose. Mandy Rose and was it Sasha Banks? No, it was a random throwaway match. I just can't remember. It was on the Superstar Shakeup, I think. Either way, it was an embarrassing match. I still can't believe I've seen that. Either way, 10 minutes, 35 seconds for this matchup. Mustafa Ali was visibly tired toward the end. You ain't gonna like this next matchup, buddy, because you actually won. TJP was also visibly tired toward the end. Dude, it's a 10-minute match. What the fuck, guys? I'm going to make an edit of that. Also, I believe I've taken both of them off TV. If not, whatever. I'll remind myself later. Ali and TJP stamina improvement, because it's a 10-minute matchup. Give me a break. These guys have way more stamina than that. I cooled the crowd. Not sure how it was hot in the first place. And a solid E rating for Mustafa Ali, TJP with an E+. One thing I would like to point out, by the way, we are in the KFC Yum Center. That is where SmackDown was. And that is just a great name for an arena. The KFC Yum. Well, I guess it's not an arena. It's a center. So, good name for a center. TJP is improving in Rumble. Mustafa Ali is... Did I get that messed up? Yeah, I did. TJP is improving in performance. Mustafa Ali is improving in Rumble. And we get a solid B-rated segment here. Don't get too excited because this is just hype for the upcoming match between The Game, Triple H, and the franchise player John Cena. at the greatest Royal Rumble event. And then we jump into our second match of the gauntlet match. Mustafa Ali takes on Drew Gulak. And during the first match, we had an interesting part where TJP does a drop kick to Mustafa Ali's leg from the top rope. It was really cool looking, actually. And Drew Gulak definitely played on that because TJP locked in, of course, his knee bar trying to get Mustafa to tap out. It didn't work for him because he did eventually fall to the 054. But Drew Gulak comes out and he is dead set on going right after the injured leg of Mustafa Ali the entire time. And he was mocking him the entire time, just talking all sorts of crap, mocking him about his leg and how, oh, are you hurt? Are you hurt? Stuff like that. Either way, Gulak versus Mustafa Ali, terrible wrestling and non-existent crowd heat. Drew Gulak goes over Mustafa Ali in 11 minutes 46. God damn it. 11 minutes 46 seconds. There we go. After Mustafa Ali was knocked out. So what happened here was at one point Mustafa Ali was climbing the rope to the top even though his leg was hurt, ready to hit the 054, but because his knee was hurting, he wasn't able to get up there in time. Drew Gulak was able to recover in time, and he pushes Mustafa Ali off, who clips the steel steps as he goes outside the ring. And even though he's pretty much knocked out from there, Gulak feels the need to toss him into the ring and lock in the Gulak on him to, I guess, win the match, even though, like I said, Mustafa Ali was already knocked out because of that. Ali still visibly tired towards the end, but at least Drew Gulak wasn't. And this was an 11-minute 46 match, so this was about 12 minutes, longer than the last match. So Mustafa Ali was working about 22 minutes here, I'd say. Yeah. Vic Joseph and Percy Watson, I don't know if we've seen this yet, but apparently they have good chemistry, or pretty good chemistry, when calling matches together. So I guess that's a plus for 205. Mustafa Ali with the solid E-rated performance, and Drew Gulak with a D- rated. This, of course, cooled the crowd. We then jump into... Oh, look, it even has the Gulak there. We then jump into an E+ rated match. Terrible wrestling and non-existent crowd heat. Drew Gulak goes over Tony Nese in 7 minutes 44 seconds with the Gulak. The whole point of this match is really Tony Nese was pushed very strong in this matchup. Gulak got very little offense in on Tony Nese in this match. Nese really kind of dominated him, and at one point, kind of I guess as an homage to their previous matchup in the Cruiserweight Championship tournament that led up to WrestleMania, Tony Nese tosses Drew Gulak over the announce table just like he did to him in that matchup. So you had that going on there. Very vicious side of Tony Nese, but it all backfires on him as Drew Gulak is able to catch him off guard and lock him in the Gulak when Nese could have finished him off, and he says, I'm gonna do this to you, you earn this. He puts him in like the corner, and he was gonna do like I guess that running knee move. At least that's what I think he was gonna do. I haven't really seen many of Tony Nese's matches, even though I did see him live when I went to that Monday Night Raw event, but he lost. He took on Graham Metalik, so either way, Drew Gulak locks in the Gulak. Tony Nese taps out, and he's a little bit of emotion. He's a little bit emotional, I should say, after tapping out. But we'll get to that in just a moment. How do you cool the crowd if they're already cooled? Like we've seen this segment, or this road agent report or whatever this is, notification like 2 times in a row, 3 times in a row, whatever it is. It's just like, how can you keep cooling the crowd? Either way, both Drew Gulak and Tony Nese, to my surprise, with D- rated in-ring performances. Not that Nese is bad, it's just he's not really that popular, and doesn't really have a lot of momentum. So I thought he'd maybe be more in that E region. Gulak and Nese's storyline gained some heat as well, so that's good. And Tony Nese is improving in Rumble and Technical. We then go to a solid E rating here as Tony Nese is distraught after his loss. I mentioned it a little bit in the previous segment, but Tony Nese is just he kind of pulls the Christian Captain Charisma temper, but he doesn't do the temper tantrum. That's like he looks like he's gonna pull a temper tantrum, but he's just he just can't believe it happened. Like he let it slip through his hands. He knows it's his fault. It was actually really well done on Tony Nese's part. You can see the complete disappointment in his face and just how upset he is with himself and how he let, his ego get in the way, which pretty much cost him this match against his former friend, now rival. And really good acting on Tony Nese's part, if I say so myself. Unfortunately, it lost heat for their feud. That was really, how do you lose heat already? What was it, a D, and then it's like, oh, back down to the E. And then finally, we have our main event of the night, which will be the finale of the gauntlet match, as we have Drew Gulak versus Kalisto. But Gulak, pretty smart. He steps out of the ring and he refuses to get back into the ring as he continues to take a breather against Kalisto. He continues to take a breather until the match actually, starts and the referee actually starts counting him out. But that I kind of split this segment in the count, the match itself, in two different parts. I started the match itself once I started hearing the referees count out, but before that I had, this before here, because that was kind of the angle they were playing at, is, Gulak milking as much time as he can. So a little bit of a weird way of separating those two, but we then jump into said matchup. But before we can get, or I guess while we're in the said matchup, because this is one of those things where the interview is going on during the match while it's happening, Dasha Fuentes catches up with Tony Nese to interview him about his loss against Drew Gulak. But Tony Nese has no words. He just looks at her and he just walks off. He's a broken man right now. Perhaps he can be woken. Who knows? D- rated segment for our main event of the night. We have a bout that had terrible wrestling and non-existent crowd heat. Kalisto goes over Drew Gulak in 6 minutes, 20 seconds with the Salida del Sol. And it'll be Kalisto versus Cedric Alexander at the Greatest Royal Rumble for the Cruiserweight Championship. The main event cooled the crowd as well. Both Gulak and Kalisto with D- rated performances. And we end off the show with an E rated performance as Kalisto, Lince Dorado, and Gran Metalik all celebrate. The Lucha House Party come out to celebrate in the middle of the ring. And then that leads to the Cruiserweight Champion, Cedric Alexander, also coming out and, clapping, congratulating Kalisto and pretty much holding up the Cruiserweight Championship as they have a brief stare down to hype up their upcoming match this Friday. Altogether, D- rated show. Honestly, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. D- rated show. I thought this was going to bomb. I mean, D- is really not that far off from an E or, an E plus or anything like that. Whatever, the E grades go. But it proves that the Cruiserweights are starting to get over a little bit. I mean, even though, as you can see, there's still a lot of E's, there's a couple D's in there, and a 1B, but that's thanks to John Cena. I mean, come here, look, we got a couple of D's. We got Drew Gulak, who obviously is over because he contributed to 2 D- rated segments here, so unfortunately he did treat, to an E plus rated segment. But again, I don't feel Tony Nese is that over, so I feel, again, Drew Gulak really takes the cake. He seems like he's the star of 205 Live, if you ask me. But, the crowd, of course, wasn't happy. They expected more angles and interview segments rather than matches. But 205 Live is a B show, so we don't get any... Oh, the final attendance is waiting confirmation. I was like, what does that mean? Anyway, we don't get any docs or anything where there's no pluses to popularity or, minuses to the popularity for B shows. So WWE got away with it there, but if it was a SmackDown or a Raw, it would not have gone over there. All right, cool. We are still in the KFC Yum Center. Just needed to double check that. By the way, if any of you guys were curious about the wrestling industry and the economy right now in America, the economy is rising, but it's currently at an E, while the wrestling industry is falling, and it is at an F. So that doesn't help as well. Coming up next, though, we are going to have Friday Night SmackDown. and we will officially be caught up, or will we, because this will probably be around the time that I'm in Vegas and all that. So by the time I get back from Vegas, we'll probably be a couple shows of sort again. I'll have to book the Greatest Royal Rumble. I'll have to book, Monday Night Raw, 205 Live, and SmackDown from that week. And hell, if I don't get SmackDown up before I leave, I'll have to book that up as well. So that might be my dilemma. We'll see where it goes. But that's going to do it for this episode. Hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, do me a favor, comment, like, subscribe if you haven't already. Don't forget to share this video with your friends, your Facebooks, your Twitters, all the social media accounts out there. It helps your boy out, gets the channel out there. If you feel someone will enjoy my content, recommend them, buddy. Help me out, man. And as always, got the Patreon page. Check that out if you want to help out the channel. It's not required. It's always just appreciated. And don't forget to look in the description box to check out my associates. My name's Venom, GWTF, LOL, FTW, BRB. I will see you guys for SmackDown. Have a good one.